Apparently, this is my co-host. Everybody say hi to Indigo. Anytime I bring out the camera, she's always super curious. Anyways, welcome back, guys, and welcome to the channel if you're new here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a bit. Today, we're gonna... Okay, for real now. Let's talk about April. April was an abysmal reading month for me, my worst reading month of the year so far. Before we get into that, I thought we would start off with the fun stuff, which is my recent book haul. Let's get started. First up, we have The Bone Season. This is a fantasy set in the future, and in this time, there is a ruling republic that is oppressing the unnaturals. And our FMC has an ability called Dream Walking, which is a rare and formidable form of clairvoyance. This is a full saga series consisting of 7 planned books, 5 of which are already published, along with 2 novellas. Now, one of those novellas is a prequel, so there might be a reading order to consider, but personally, given that book 1 was published in 2013 and the prequel novella came out in 2016, I would go by the publication order. And guys, I totally get it. This is a lot of books for a fantasy series and they're not short. But what I will say is that I have heard nothing but phenomenal reviews for this series. I'm talking back-to-back 5 stars. And just a personal inkling I have is I have not read anything that could compare to Throne of Glass, but I do have high hopes that this series might be able to join the ranking. The next book I got was The Night Prince, and this might shock y'all given how feral I was for The Wolf King, but I have yet to dive into this. I'm actually currently filming another reading vlog that'll go into more detail about the dilemma I had with picking this up, but if you're not familiar with The Night Prince, this is the sequel to The Wolf King, which is a trilogy series. It's a fantasy set in Scotland inspired heavily by Scottish mythology and politics surrounding Scotland's landscape. I could not put the first book down. It has everything that I love in a romantasy. It has enemies to lovers, yearning, plot twists, and a false protagonist, which will get me every time. Anytime that is in any book, I'm seated, you have my full attention. One more note before I move on. I'm not super into sprayed edges, but the way they executed them for this series is so brilliant. For the Wolf King, the sprayed edges have the wolfsbane flower in full bloom. For the Night Prince, the wolfbane is wilting, which has so much significance in the lore and, quite frankly, has me chomping at the bit to read it. Okay, shaking things up a bit, next we have Hooked by Asako Yuzuki, and this is a literary fiction with elements of dark comedy, psychological drama, and social commentary. It's a book about obsession and female friendships. This will be my first novel by this author, and for a lit fic, she's kind of chunky, coming in just shy of 400 pages. At the same time that I picked up Hooked, I also grabbed The Dark Lord's Guide to Dating and Other War Crimes, and as you can tell, this is a blend between fantasy and comedy. I love these types of books as palate cleansers, but at the same time, she's like 500 pages, which is a lot for a palate cleanser. Also makes me a little bit nervous because of the type of genre that this is, and it is also a duology, so I'm really hoping that there's not a lot of filler here. But so far, the reviews... Indigo! I'm sorry, guys. Hi, how are ya? Okay, as I was saying, so far the reviews for this are really good. People are loving it. Now, this next book I talk about all of the time because I think she is criminally underrated. And of course, I had to grab my own trophy copy. Y'all already know I'm talking about The Silversmith. This is slated to be a 5-book series, which I'm not even mad about. And the second one cannot come out soon enough. It is one of my most anticipated books of 2026. Now, shifting gears again, I picked up The Pelican Child by Joy Williams, which is a collection of short stories exploring themes of childhood and adult dreamers. And honestly, I'm just curious to read some of Joy Williams' writing because it's been described as looking into the abyss. Yeah, so we'll see what I find. It is very short. It's only about 120 pages. No, it's 150, but still pretty short. All right, this next book, I'm going to try my hardest to hold back and reserve commentary, but you know, the tabs just say it all. Because this is just a haul, suffice it to say, I picked up The Bright Years by Sarah DeMoff, and I did not regret it, and I don't think you will either. All right, now we're actually getting into my current read. Ta-da! Children of Dune. Are y'all as surprised as me that I'm reading this right now? I didn't think I was gonna pick up Children of Dune until closer to November or even November, because I have a sneaking suspicion that Dune Part 3 is actually gonna be a blend between Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. And y'all, look, I'm already basically 60% in. I love Frank Herbert's writing. He will never disappoint me. I'm loving this right now. Okay, and wrapping this haul up, we are ending it with Shield of Sparrows. And yes, I did pick this up after seeing all of the viral reactions of people crying to the sequel. I can't remember the last time I truly ugly cried to a book, but apparently this series has the potential to do just that. And I'm feeling a bit of FOMO, so here we are. Let me know if you guys have already read any of these books and what you thought about them. Okay guys, now it's time for me to rant and rate about my abysmal April. That's it. Just 2. Yep. I fully slumped the rest of the month. I reached a level of burnout that I never want to experience again, which brings me to my channel announcement. When I first started the channel, I fully intended on posting long form content every week. And for the first 5 months, I basically succeeded at that, with the exception of 1 week where I got sick. The only way I was able to maintain that weekly goal was by staying up very late multiple nights. I'm talking sometimes until 1:30, 2 a.m. in the morning. And I've learned that that is just not sustainable long term for me. And I am trying to balance this thing called life, but I don't want to lose my weekly presence on YouTube. I love doing YouTube. It's been a dream to have my own channel since 2012, but I just now have the gumption to actually put myself out there. I'm doing this first and foremost as a hobby. I love talking about books and I want to have some presence in the book community. I also really love editing videos and I hope that that's reflected in my content. And yes, if some point down the line this channel does get monetized, that would be the dream and such a blessing. I can't tell you guys how grateful I am for the subscribers that I have. I get so giddy and excited anytime I get a notification that someone has subscribed or one of you have commented. It truly is one of the things that makes my day. So that being said, I'm going to absolutely continue on, but I am going to alternate between long form and short form, which I've already started doing. So 1 week I'll post a long form video and the next week I'll post short form, and I try my best to always post on Wednesdays. All right, that's my channel update. Let's talk about Shy. Shy is written by Max Porter and it is the most chaotic stream of consciousness I've ever been privy to. And if you're curious of my reading experience, I did make a short of me reading this all in one sitting, which I do think was Max Porter's intent when he wrote this. It also inspired the Netflix movie called Steve, who's played by Cillian Murphy, who acts as one of Shy's teachers or maybe guidance counselor, from what I can tell by the trailer, which, by the way, I think expertly captures the essence of this book. Also, during the press tour, Cillian Murphy mentioned that playing Steve was one of the most exposing roles he's ever had because it really blurred the line between his character and his own real emotions and reactions to his counterpart Shy, who is a troubled teenager. So if you're a Cillian Murphy fan, check out Steve, but also check out Shy because it was 4 stars. The second book I read was A Fate Inked in Blood, and this is the Arcane Society Special Edition, which is absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, this is when my slump fully started to sink in, and not because the book was bad. I liked it. I very much enjoyed the Viking setting and mythology, but my state of mind was pretty terrible, and for that reason, I don't feel like it's fair to rate this book. It is the first book within a trilogy, and I do plan on continuing it, but honestly, probably not till next year. Okay, guys, there is actually one more book that we have to talk about, and that is the second book that I have DNF'd this year. Unfortunately and surprisingly, it's Binding 13. I know this is such a beloved book. I'm gonna be as sensitive as possible when talking about this because 1, it's a DNF. I did not finish it. 2, I didn't DNF it for the writing or the characters. It's just honestly too YA for me. I gave it 127 pages to be exact before deciding that I just couldn't commit to it. And I feel like it's better to DNF this than to maybe give it a poor rating because I forced myself to finish it. Maybe if it was 300 pages, I would have pushed through, but she's 600 pages. And that is just a chunk of time that I'm not willing to spare. I am, however, very happy for the fandom and excited for them because Amazon did pick it up as a TV series, and perhaps it might spark the desire to attempt this again. But for right now, she feels like a pretty solid DNF. And that wraps up my April. I'm sorry to end this on somewhat of a disappointing note, but I'm always gonna be honest with you guys. As always, thank you so much for your time and for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.